Victor, 1-1 here away from home at Atleti would ordinarily be seen as a really good result, but do you feel like you should have had more out of that?
I think in the first half we controlled the game quite well, I think, and had a few good opportunities to score. Managed to score out of one of them, and then I think in the second half they started much better. Maybe deserved to get a goal eventually, and then towards the end I think we got a few okay chances, but overall I think tough game. We know it's a tough place to come, but it's only half time.
Do you feel a bit hard done by the penalty decisions tonight?
I didn't see there, so difficult to say, but it's football.
What about the one on Eze? Because by that point you were on the bench. Did you manage to get a replay of it? What were you told?
I don't know why they turned it down. It looks like a contact, but it's their decision.
As you say in the game, Arsenal had a lot of control in the first half. Once Atleti scored, how difficult was it to regain momentum in the game?
It was not very easy. Of course, they have the crowd here. Of course, we always try to play and to get back that momentum we had in the first half. I think towards the end, I think we got it back a little bit. But it was a tough second half.
You're halfway towards the final, though, and the second leg is at home. How much belief do you have that you can get the job done at home next week?
Yeah, we know when we play at home with our fans, it's gonna be different for sure. We just have to do our job, and for sure it's gonna be a good game at home.
Well played tonight.
Thank you.
Welcome on into our studio in London.
Welcome.
Here we are. Have a hug. Yes, Kate, Thierry, Jamie and Micah. So we got highlights for you of this 1-1 between Atletico and Arsenal from Madrid. Let's take you through it. Micah, you want to start us off with the highlights?
Yeah, I'll go with Alvarez, seeing as a former City player. And,
you were happy to get rid of?
I was buzzing when he was at Manchester City. I mean, this guy can do anything. Twisting and turning. And look at that for an effort. Just doesn't start it far enough away from the post, but nevertheless, good save from David Raya.
And then Noni Madueke on the ball here, as you can see, cutting inside, and that ball was never going to be on target, but at least he went in, tried. He was brave a couple of times trying to run at people, and he couldn't curve that one in.
And then the penalty decision, Hanko, it is a penalty. That one. I mean, Gyökeres is clever, knows what he's doing, but why wouldn't you? Of course he should do that. Gyökeres almost stop and wait for him to come in behind him.
I agree with Jamie, but I still think it's pretty soft, you know.
No, but what I'm saying is, what's Gyökeres supposed to do, you know?
Yeah.
But you know what? As I said before, he's had a lot of criticism, but my God, he takes a good penalty. He takes the courage, he steps up, puts his foot right through it, as we all like to see penalties taken. Yeah. And there's the celebration.
This game was a bunch of penalty incidents. Let's take a look at the next one. Let's take a look at the same one again. Micah, how did you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think Jamie's right in terms of he uses his body well, but is there enough contact there to warrant a penalty? I mean, he's wrong side, Hanko, so the referee, especially when Gyökeres gets in front of him, he's going to say it's a penalty. He's not going to go to the screen and that's not going to be overturned, but I just feel it was slightly soft, but I understand why the referee gave it.
OK, let's go into the second half now and look at some chances for Atletico Madrid that we saw here. Jamie, you want to take these?
Yeah, I think this is Lookman and Griezmann, isn't it? The double chance second half. And listen, they look like a different team second half, Atletico Madrid. We've seen this before with Simeone as soon as they go down. So comfortable save initially. Then I thought, that's the big chance, isn't it? Gabriel. I thought initially it was the goalkeeper, but brilliant defending from Gabriel.
When Gabriel does it, he touches it, but because it's attached to his body at the right, close to his body, bad. It obviously.
But this, I mean, it probably is in the law a handball in terms of where his arm is. But we don't want. I actually agree with you on this, Jamie. I don't want to see penalties given for this. I just don't. It just doesn't feel right to me.
No, I really don't like it.
And the only reason I'm saying this, stand up. If you're kicking the ball there, you kick the ball. I'm here. And if your body shape's there, your hand is going to be there.
Exactly.
So that's a natural position.
Exactly.
Essentially, look, extremely disappointed is what he said about that penalty decision. The other one, he said, look, fair, those are the rules. And I guess he probably watched the game last night as well and realised that these penalties are going to be given, even if they are in close proximity to another part of your body. But in terms of the one that we've all been talking about, he is adamant it's the wrong decision.
Yeah, it's very understandable that he's upset and he's emotional, and it would have changed the course of the game. I think if Arsenal could have got themselves in front 2-1, it would have been a massive moment over the both games. And again, you watched the game last night, he would have watched it, the penalty incidents in the PSG game. So you'd accept the Ben White one, you'd have to go, well, that's the rules across the board, even though it's a shambles as well. But you can understand his frustration, and he feels really hard done by, and I agree.
Yeah. What about the context of a 1-1 draw that he gets to take back to the Emirates?
Yeah.
Overall, what do we make of it?
It could have been better, but I think you'll take that. And obviously Arsenal now have that advantage. Winning the league has given you that chance to play the second leg at home. That's all important, I feel. The fans obviously will get behind. They've just seen what happened tonight. I think it will be equally as horrible for these Atletico players as they try to make it for Arsenal. It'll be a united Emirates, and hopefully Arsenal get what they need. But they've a big game between now and then at the weekend, and he'll quickly change his attention to
his
that.
team talk is done for next week against Atletico Madrid. Yeah. The injustices of this evening, the frustration, that's the fuel for next week's game. Just go out and batter these now after what happened last week. And that's what I feel. I feel it'll galvanise Arsenal to go out and do the job next week. And all the fans, as Martin rightly said, there'll be so much frustration and they'll get fully behind them and make it as difficult as possible for Atletico Madrid. And we were speaking off camera. In the semi-final of the Champions League, you win at home and you're through. I mean, you take that all year long, wouldn't you? You take that all year long. So it's a wonderful position from Arsenal, even though we understand their frustration tonight, absolutely.
Breaking up play and how actually he can influence the game out of possession sometimes more than in possession. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was great as well. I thought Arsenal's midfield were dominant for large parts of the game, for the whole first half and for periods of the second half. I think they complement each other really well. He played slightly further forward, Declan played slightly deeper today, but in other games we've seen Declan get around the edge of the box and let fly and score magnificent goals. I think they're a really good combination, and Odegaard complements both of them. They're a real good trio, but I think in the second leg they've got to get Eze on the pitch. I think he gives them just that little bit more spark, a little bit more power. He just looks that little bit more dangerous to me.
Do you think Saka plays?
Yeah, I think so.
He does for me. He does for me. You play your big game players in the second leg. You can understand them wanting to change and freshen the energy up and change the squad about, but you play your biggest players in the second leg of a Champions League final, your big game players.
It's interesting because Odegaard gives you that press, doesn't he? Which Eze maybe doesn't give you, but then Eze gives you...
He gives you the press, but
that
does he
player in
regain
the box.
The ball? He gives you the press on the eye, but does he regain the ball?
He
took him off after 57
but he certainly applies pressure.
With him tonight.
Yeah, but I think it's more to do with managing minutes because he's come back from injury, and it's a case of like, there's another game at the weekend. So all these guys are coming back and not quite getting to the form they were previously in. And that's natural because you've been out for such a long time. So I think he's managing that situation as well as he can. But Eze, I agree. You want him on the pitch.
Okay. Mikel, it was a game full of incidents and talking points. But what's your overriding emotion and thoughts at the final whistle?
Well, after going back in the dressing room and speaking to the boys and understanding and watching the penalty incident for the second goal, getting overturned, extremely disappointed and annoyed because it goes against the rules, and I don't understand it, and it changes the course of the tie. So very, very upset.
Were you able to speak to the referee to find out why he overturned it?
No, but I mean the whole sequence tells the story. I mean it's a clear contact. You make that decision. You cannot overturn that decision when you have to look at it 13 times. It's just at this level is completely unacceptable.
And it was overturned after the referee went to the pitch side monitor. Do you feel that he was influenced by the crowd?
I don't know. That's an answer for him, but obviously it's a wrong decision and it changes the course of the time.
What about the penalty that Atleti were awarded themselves? What's your thoughts on that? Is it frustrating that it appears that the rules seem to be different in the Premier League to the Champions League?
It is the rule, and they've been quite consistent with that. So on that one, if you're going to give a penalty for this kind of things, you have to accept that. I have nothing to say with that, but the one that changes completely everything is a penalty on Epps, and that cannot happen at this level.
I know it's really tough at this stage to look past those incidents that you feel hard done by, but what are your thoughts on the way your team played tonight?
Yeah, we have a lot of positives, a lot of very good things that we did. We went through very positive moments. We knew we were going to have top moments. I mean, this team, the history and the record that they had at home is incredible against the best team in the world, getting 3 and 4 goals. So we knew we were going to have to navigate through that, but we should have get more.
What's the message to the players then at this halfway point, still halfway to that final?
Halfway, I mean, we are in an incredible position. Semi-final of the Champions League, we have to play in front of our people. It's in our hands, and that's it. And now recover and Fulham.
That's it. It's not the next game. You still have a big game in the Premier League to come on Saturday. How are you managing that recovery of the players to go again, fight again for another massive match?
Make sure that they eat, sleep, they get a lot of love, and use every single hour of the day to get in the best position to compete and win against Fulham.
So good. US international on the pitch in a Champions League semi-final. Love it, love it. What did you make of his performance?
Oh, solid like the team. You know, it wasn't much into the game, like I said to you, but to be able to have an American guy on the field at that level is outstanding for the country.
Micah, you love to go Team America usually.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good game, didn't he, Kate? I don't want to go too, over the top.
Not like you.
Well, I mean, I've learned by doing that. But yeah, he had a very good game. Solid, I would say. 7.5 out of 10. If you must know.
Ooh, 7.5.
Okay, gone there.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that we've said is interesting about this tie is that Atletico now are all entirely focused on Champions League because they already know that they're going to finish within those Champions League spots in La Liga, so they can fully afford to focus on Champions League. Not the case for Arsenal, who now have to play in the league at the weekend, and then this second leg against Atletico next week. How will they manage that burden, that load?
I don't see an issue, personally. Jamie doesn't agree, thinks that the Fulham game should be an issue in between the two. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy and pleasant because the game against Newcastle was very difficult. But you have the squad to be able to deal with that, so deal with it.
You think differently?
I just think Thierry's right in that they have got the squad. Now, if this was in November, you make a few changes. I just think the stakes are so high. There's no way Mikel Arteta's going to be making changes in these games. I'd be very surprised. Now, the reason maybe he's in this situation right now where a lot of players do look a little bit fatigued is because he hasn't made those changes earlier on, maybe when the stakes weren't as high. But right now, I just think, if they draw against Fulham, they'll think that they've lost the league. Really. So I think, if Mikel Arteta had already won the league, they'd probably make changes against Fulham and they'd really go all in this. I'm not talking about sort of 7 or 8 changes, but maybe 2 or 3 big players and they think, OK, we'll keep you on the bench. I just think the stakes are so high for them in the Premier League, probably slightly more so as well because they've been so long without.
Can I just ask you, you was going for the league a couple of times with Liverpool, didn't you? Yeah. Years when you was winning when you won the Champions League.
Well, we were in the Champions League.
But how did that differ when you won the Champions League and then the league? How did that differ? In terms of Arsenal now, they're going for both, aren't they? Or in the running for both.
Yeah.
But obviously they need to win one. Would you say Arsenal fans, Thierry, would prefer to win the Premier League over the Champions League?
We're not in that bracket of preferring. We didn't win anything for a very long time. You leave that to people that Man City can prefer stuff, not us. Give me something. You cannot be that cocky to say we prefer this or that. Team that often win can be cocky. I want something. I don't know what it's going to be.
In terms of the fans, what would they prefer?
I'm one. I don't prefer anything. Personally, like I said to you, the league. Because you can have a thing, but we cannot be sitting here and go like, let's see what we prefer. Man City can do that because that's what they're about. I'll take anything if I'm as a fan. But now, if I analyze the game and everything, I want the league a bit more. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you can't be sitting here and saying, it will be this, it will be this, it will be that. But when you go for the title and the Champions League and the Cup, that's when it's difficult. That's when it's really extra. And if you go back to my time, I don't like to do eras and stuff. We had 18 players. 17? Yes. How many do they have? To play on a lot of you know, you were
utilise your squad. Yeah.
Yeah, but on a lot of competition, you out of the FA Cup. Obviously, we know that you were not in you were not in the semis, and so you can deal with that.
Would you rotate then if you were Arteta, or would you make a few changes? What I'm saying is, I know they've got the numbers, but you think
the rotation is, as you said before, for me personally, I've been in that situation where I didn't play against Man United when we had to play Chelsea back-to-back, Man United and you guys. To obviously in the league, that was a tough game. I didn't play against Man United in the semi-final. Didn't play at all. So rotation cannot be for me more than one or two. Last year, Paris Saint-Germain on the run of the treble, okay, more often than not, it was Desiré Doué or Barcola. If not, it was the same team. So are they superhuman? How can they play the treble? And people tell me, yeah, but the league, that's your league. I've done it at Barcelona. We won the treble. Man United won the treble. Inter won the treble. Bayern have won the treble. It can be done. So what I'm trying to say to you is I don't often like the excuses thing. You have a game in front of you, play it. You play the team that you play, that's on you. Nobody remembers that I didn't play against Man United, right? That goal when we lost against Man United in the semi-final, of the FA Cup. Nobody remember. I remember, obviously, because I didn't play. But nobody remembers that. There's no excuses. You have a team. As I said to you put money on the table. You have two squads. And I hope, as an Arsenal fan, that we can win. You understand what I mean? But then you can't be sitting here, you want to be in the semi-final of the Champions League. You want to be battling for the title. Embrace it, battle for it, and let's see at the end, like I always say, what's going to happen.
Micah, talking about what's going to happen at the end of the season, throughout the night, at some points you've said, I think City will win the league. You've also said you think PSG or Bayern will win the Champions League. So you believe that they'll end up trophyless, Arsenal?
Yeah, I only think that because of pressure. I think Arsenal, when these guys have been talking about Arsenal, and I've defended Arsenal a lot because in the Champions League phase, they finished top. And yes, they're not scoring as much set pieces, although they scored a set piece against Newcastle. I was thinking Arsenal was just going to get over the line. However, when they opened up that door for Man City, now it's not just about the football. It's about experience, and it's about who can handle the pressure the most. When we was going for the league, we went ahead of Man United, and then we couldn't deal with the pressure at the time. They went ahead of us. We chased, and that's why I always say with Jamie, I prefer to chase because I've done that. I've done that as a player, and I feel like there was no pressure. Look at the last game of the season, QPR. That game, we should have beat QPR 3-4, 5-0. But it didn't go that way because of the pressure. And why I say Man City will win the league is because I think they're experienced in dealing with this, especially at this time of the season. In the Champions League, anything can happen. Thierry mentioned it for a while now in terms of defensively. They're the best, aren't they? They are the best. But it's just, can they get over the line going forward? And that might be a set piece. And they could win the Champions League in that manner. But at the league, I think Man City, at this time of the season, go and win it.